For years, Meghan Markle has wrapped herself in the cloak of compassion, the Hollywood princess turned humanitarian, always ready with a carefully staged hug, an emotive speech, or a dramatic claim of moral superiority. But now, a charity she once proudly aligned herself with is under fire for exactly the kind of discrimination she claims to abhor. And the silence from Meghan's camp is deafening. World Vision UK, the global children's charity where Meghan once held the glossy title of Global Ambassador, is facing racism and sexism allegations from its own staff. According to reports, non-white employees had their names mispronounced, their accents mocked, and black female staff were confused for one another by colleagues, the kind of offensive behaviour Meghan has repeatedly positioned herself against. Employees describe the workplace as toxic and hostile, sparking a formal complaint to the Charity Commission. This is not a minor misstep for an obscure organisation. This is a major international charity that once paraded Meghan as the face of its modern, inclusive mission. It was the same charity that released the now iconic photograph of her hugging a young Rwandan girl in 2016, a perfectly crafted image designed to project warmth, empathy, and moral leadership. Meghan's work with World Vision was presented as proof that she was more than just another actress chasing relevance, she was a woman with a global cause. And yet, when the mask slips, what emerges is not the shining example of humanitarian excellence, but the uncomfortable reality that the organization she so proudly attached herself to were not immune to the same discriminatory practices she claims to fight. The question now is simple: where is Meghan Markle's voice when it comes to this? When allegations of racism within the British monarchy arose, Meghan was quick to make headlines with sensational claims during her interview with Oprah. She positioned herself as a victim of a cold, prejudiced institution. She spoke of the firm in terms that shocked the world and triggered a wave of outrage. But now, a charity that once celebrated her as its moral ambassador is accused of perpetuating racism and sexism, and she has nothing to say. This isn't just hypocrisy. It's a glaring example of selective outrage. Meghan is loud when the narrative suits her image, and silent when the issue threatens to stain her polished humanitarian brand. You cannot build a reputation as a fearless advocate for equality while conveniently ignoring uncomfortable scandals that involve institutions you were once proudly linked to. World Vision, for its part, has tried to dismiss the allegations, describing them as claims made by a small number of former employees amid job cuts and restructuring. That defense will sound familiar to anyone who has followed corporate scandals: minimize, deflect, and move on. But 11 current and former staff reportedly spoke to Third Sector about their experiences. This is not just one disgruntled employee. This is a pattern of complaints that paints a disturbing picture of the workplace culture. It's worth remembering that Meghan's involvement with World Vision was not some casual arrangement. She traveled to Rwanda in 2016 and to India in 2017 as a proud representative of the charity. She spoke about girls' education, women's empowerment, and equality. She allowed herself to be positioned as a moral figurehead, a global ambassador bringing attention to the suffering of children in the developing world. World Vision called her a true humanitarian and praised her as a strong advocate for gender equality. Meghan lapped up the praise, and the media played along. But when a charity presents itself as a beacon of virtue while allegedly allowing racism and sexism to fester within its walls, its ambassadors bear some moral responsibility. Meghan may no longer have a formal relationship with World Vision since 2018, but that doesn't erase her legacy with the organization. She lent her face, her words, and her status to its brand. Now, the brand is under scrutiny, and so, indirectly, is she. It's also telling that Meghan has built much of her post-royal narrative around being a victim of systemic racism, yet there is no sign of her stepping forward to address allegations of discrimination that do not involve her personally. True advocates for justice don't pick and choose their moments of outrage. They don't stay silent when the issue arises in less glamorous or less personally beneficial contexts. The Charity Commission has confirmed that it has received a serious incident report from World Vision UK regarding the allegations. This is not a tabloid rumour. It's a matter being formally assessed by the regulatory body responsible for overseeing charities. In any other scenario, Meghan would be expected to comment, even briefly, to reaffirm her supposed commitment to the values she has long preached. Yet, so far, there's nothing. No statement. No comment. No distancing herself from the allegations. Just silence. And silence, in this case, speaks volumes. For someone who has built a global profile on being outspoken about injustice, Meghan's reluctance to engage when the scandal involves her own former affiliations exposes the fragility of her moral authority. It suggests that the carefully curated image of the tireless humanitarian has more to do with optics than conviction. This scandal isn't just a problem for World Vision UK. It's a problem for Meghan Markle's brand. Because when you spend years promoting yourself as a champion of inclusion, the public expects you to be consistent, not conveniently mute when things get messy. If Meghan truly wants to be seen as a credible advocate for equality, she can't just parachute into issues that flatter her image. She must also confront uncomfortable truths.